By now you've probably figured out that the different chess pieces vary in strengths and weaknesses. The queen is the most powerful. She can move any number of squares in any direction and controls 27 squares from a position at the center of the board. The rook is not as powerful as the queen, but can still travel long distances. From the center of the board, a rook controls 14 squares. The bishop is limited in its movement by the fact that it can only travel on dark squares or light squares. From the center of the board, a bishop controls 13 squares. The knight is very limited in how far it can move per turn, but it has the advantage of being the only piece that can jump over other pieces. From the center of the board, a knight controls 8 squares. Last and least is the pawn. The weakest of all, the pawn can move only 1 or 2 squares at a time, and in only one direction. We use the pawn as the basic unit against which we measure all of the other pieces. In relation to a pawn, the knight is worth 3 points. The bishop is worth 3 points. The rook is worth 5 points. And the queen is worth 9 points. No value is assigned to the king because if you're about to lose your king, you've lost the game. Try to memorize these values, as they'll be very useful to you throughout your chess career. Based on these values, if you allow your queen to be exchanged for one of your opponent's pawns, you're losing 8 points in the exchange. This is called a loss of material. You may be curious about the fact that the bishop and knight are valued the same. Both pieces have strengths and weaknesses, but many chess players have come to believe that a bishop is slightly more valuable than a knight, though not as valuable as a rook. Using both bishops together, so that both light and dark squares are covered, can be a powerful combination. Material superiority can often determine the winner of a chess game. Piece value is something you should keep in mind when you consider your moves. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. Black to move. Play the move that wins the most material. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. Correct. Black to move. Play the move that wins the most material. That's right. Black to move. Play the move that wins the most material. That's correct. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. You got it right. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. Correct. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. That's correct. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. That's right. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. You got it right. Black to move. Play the move that wins the most material. That's right. White to move. Play the move that wins the most material. Correct.